Now what I want to talk about is this really cool prompt book made by OpenArts's. And I would highly suggest checking out this website because the resources that they put together for platforms like Midjourney and DALL-E 2 are excellent. So a lot of this stuff we've kind of already gone over in this chapter, but I want to just kind of go through this prompt book so that we can dive further into prompt engineering and just overall creating great prompts. So let's talk about ordering your words, because ordering your words can be just as important as the words that you're using. So in this example, we have a cat sitting on a Martian table versus a cat that is sitting on a table on Mars, and a cat sitting on a table and the table is on Mars. So 3 different outputs with slightly different wording, but really the ordering of the word is going to dictate the way that the platform or that the AI tool lays out your artwork. So if you're not getting the output that you like, it possibly might mean that you need to change the words you're using, but it also might mean that it would be better to remix the ordering a little bit to keep trying, because it's not likely you're going to get an output that you're going to use as your final product right out of the gate. There are some photos that Midjourney can do really well because it has a lot of reference images, and what you're asking isn't too far off the beaten path. If I ask it for, let's say, /imagine, I want a portrait of an astronaut, which it'll have tons of reference photos of because there's a lot of those available online on the moon. It's gonna have an easy time putting together this type of photo. Boom, so as you can see, these are all pretty dang good. It did a good job of this, especially this top right one. It has so many reference images of the moon from past history that's been uploaded online, and it's got tons of reference images of astronauts. Now, if I were to ask it something that, let's say, a scuba diver driving a car, it's not gonna have that many reference images of something like this. It's gonna have a lot of reference images that are gonna be colored blue with scuba divers underwater. For example, if I were to Google search scuba diver, you have to keep in mind, these are the images it's pulling online, so it's gonna have a harder time with the coloring, with the positioning of the scuba diver, and just really creatively combining it with this type of image online to then transitioning it to driving a car is gonna be more difficult than something that it's used to seeing. Okay, cool, so these actually look pretty great. You can see it was struggling with a few parts of these images. It did mess up a few things, so it didn't do as good of a job, but it still creatively combined these 2 elements. So we would be able to kind of rework the wording in this to get a more desired image. And going back to the prompt book, you know, there's so many just different directions you can take this art creation in. We can choose any style that we want. So let's just go ahead and take Polaroid and let's do our same scuba diver. Scuba diver driving a car, the style of a Polaroid. And the style of a Polaroid with, let's say, neon purple lighting. So now we're giving it a much more specific direction to go in. So it's not gonna pop out these more general styles. It's gonna be colored completely different, and the feeling of the image is gonna be completely different as well. So there we have it. We have 4 different options. It created a Polaroid-like border on a few of these, and it totally changed the color scheme from this option to this option. So I actually really like this top left one. That's pretty cool feeling. Let's see what else we can learn from the prompt book. Going back to the mediums, we can completely change the texture. We can go graffiti style, watercolors, oil painting, fabric, pencil, wood, clay. And one of the really cool parts is telling it to create in the style of artists. So not only can we create something more anime style, so let's go ahead and do an example. And let's keep it with this scuba diver. I think we're getting some good results here. scuba diver driving a car in the style of this artist. And let's also grab one more example that's going to be a completely different look and feel. So Ansel Adams, a very famous photographer. Let's go ahead and grab the beginning of this prompt in the style of Ansel Adams. And let's see what it comes up with. Perfect. So we have our two different styles. So we have our anime style here, and then we have our Ansel Adams style. So what I want to do is let's go ahead and see what the original art would look like from this artist to see how good of a job Midjourney did. So we can see very airy, very kind of fantasy feeling. And this is the art that it created. Same color palette, same tonality, same feeling. And if we go to Ansel Adams, the more black and white photographer, let's type in on Google, you can see really good job of getting that look and feel. So that's why I was mentioning that it's only as good as the data set that it's pulled from online. And it does a really good job of blending different styles and different prompts together. So you could even blend these two styles together. So let's go ahead and try that. Okay, I'm gonna create my new prompt, scuba diver in the style of Ansel Adams, blended with our other artist. And the cool part is this would take a human many hours or possibly days to create, to go through, researching the artist, looking at the nuances that makes their art unique or specific, or just brainstorming and thinking of, okay, how am I going to combine a scuba diver in a car, and just that whole process and the amount of energy it would take to go through that process. That is one of the biggest keys of Midjourney, is that it's going to remove that time and allow for you to be reiterating what's already been created versus the excess time creating it from scratch. So here we go. We started with our more colorful anime style. We had our black and white portrait photography style. And now we have kind of a good balance, I honestly think, in between, that it has some colors, but it's a monochrome feel that did a good job of mixing the blue tones of our first artist with that anime style and the black and white feeling of our second artist. So really, the possibilities are completely limitless. Now, in the next lecture, we're gonna go further into our prompt book and see what else we can learn.